The silent collapse, China and the exposed demographic secret. The world has grown accustomed to the image of China as a giant with 1.4 billion people, a colossal consumption machine, a bottomless market, an endless labor force. But what if I told you that it's all just an illusion? That behind those magnificent walls, China is silently dying. And this truth has leaked, not from the mouth of a defector, but from the very heart of the world's most tightly controlled surveillance system. 1. The data leak that shocked the world. July 2022. A massive data leak sent shockwaves through the global intelligence and tech communities. A hacker, codenamed China Dan, claimed he had obtained over 23 terabytes of data from the Shanghai police system, which stores national domestic security information. The leaked information included detailed personal records of nearly 1 billion citizens, migration history, household registration records, crime reports, death lists. The asking price? Just 10 bitcoins, roughly $200,000 at the time. A paltry sum, for a truth that could shake an entire empire to its core. But the most shocking thing wasn't the sheer volume of data. It was the actual number of people. The data recorded only about 850 to 970 million individuals, instead of the 1.4 billion Beijing consistently claimed. This wasn't a survey, nor was it flimsy statistics from Western media. This was raw data from the National Public Security System, where every death, every birth, every internal movement is recorded. If there were only 900 million records, then it's highly possible that China has lost over 400 million people, or never had that many to begin with. This forces us to ask serious questions. Where is the missing population? Have they died, or did they never exist? Why would the government fabricate hundreds of millions of people? Could it be that, for decades, China has inflated its population as a card of power to attract investment, manipulate markets, and maintain its aura as a rising superpower? This is no longer a conspiracy theory. It is a digital footprint of a hidden truth. 2. Desolate villages, silent cities. Anyone who has visited China or researched it in depth can clearly see thousands of empty villages with only the elderly barely surviving. Ghost cities sprouting like mushrooms with hundreds of thousands of uninhabited apartments. Abandoned schools, hospitals, parks, with insufficient populations to sustain their operation. If China truly has 1.4 billion people, then where are they? Why are so many newly built urban areas as desolate as concrete graveyards? Perhaps these projects weren't meant to serve the population, but to conceal a truth. The real population has dwindled, but the illusion still needs to be maintained. 3. The causes of demographic collapse. There is a biological weapon that Beijing self-inflicted, the one-child policy. Initially, it was praised as the world's most effective population control strategy. But the price to pay, no one could have imagined. Severe gender imbalance, with tens of millions of men unable to find wives. Broken families, as there are no longer enough children and grandchildren to care for the elderly generation. A widespread fear of childbirth, due to overwhelming financial, housing, healthcare, and education pressures on young couples. A generation of lonely, depressed, aimless young people who do not want to marry, do not want to have children. The government has tried everything: tax exemptions, subsidies, housing incentives, reduced tuition fees. But faith has died. And when faith dies, no policy can save it. 4. Global geopolitical consequences. When the true population declines sharply, the system will crack from within. Economic growth will slow, due to a lack of workforce, a lack of domestic consumption. Global supply chains will break down, as the world's factory no longer has enough workers. Political instability will increase. As the population ages, public spending rises, but tax revenues plummet. Nationalism will intensify, as a way to mask internal crises. An aging, imbalanced, panicked China will no longer be an attractive economic partner, but a potential geopolitical risk. 5. The unconcealable unraveling. And now, the world can smell the smoke. International investors are fleeing China. FDI is drying up. Capital is being pulled back to India, Southeast Asia, and Mexico. Manufacturing and tech giants are shifting their supply chains elsewhere. The press is beginning to openly report on the demographic crisis that Beijing can no longer hide. China, once hailed as a miracle symbol, now serves as a sobering warning for every nation that believes its population is endless. Sometimes, an empire doesn't die by war. It doesn't die by foreign invasion. But it dies by the very lies it once used to manipulate the world. China once called itself a dragon, a tiger, the center of the world. But as every leaked byte of data, every deserted village, and every young generation refusing to be born comes to light, the world is slowly realizing the red dragon they feared might just be a dry skeleton shouting slogans. If you found this video offers a different perspective from the mainstream, please like, subscribe, and share. Because only when the truth is spread can the illusion be shattered, and a truly awakened world can begin.